Hi, my name is Virginia. I'm here on the marketing team at Founder Institute. We're in May, which is the month of mental health awareness. So we thought it would be the perfect opportunity to get an update on one of our graduates. His name is Cody Simrao. He is the founder and CEO of the startup BetterMynd, which provides online therapy for college students. So, Cody, could you tell us a little bit about BetterMynd?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. And I'd love to talk about, BetterMynd. BetterMynd, as you mentioned, is a company I founded, which is an online digital mental health platform specifically for college students. So we really help, in partnering directly with colleges to address really the growing mental health needs of their students, right there on campus and now, working, remotely. So, we actually partner directly with colleges to give their students access to our counselors, which they then can have live video therapy sessions with.
Wow. And when did you start this?
So I started BetterMind about 3 years ago now, and this was a little bit after I had graduated from college and was doing kind of a corporate job, and really decided I wanted to do something I was more passionate about. So, for me, mental health is a personal passion of mine, very much because of the own mental health issues I started going through when I was a college student. So I went to, a small school in central New York. And, while I was there, I started for reasons, I couldn't understand at the time, going through my own issues with anxiety and depression. And it took me a long time to, work up the personal courage to ask for help and to walk into this building everybody on campus knew as the counseling center. But eventually, I snuck my way in there and was fortunate to be able to receive, the help I needed.
Mhm.
But I think going through that personal journey, made me realize not only how hard is it for college students to have a mental illness, but how hard it can be to actually, reach out for help.
Yeah.
So overcoming, some of the stigma that surrounds mental health is, I think, really important, and just making it as easy as possible for students to reach out and access, the help they need.
Mhm. And could you give us on a broader scale kind of a synopsis of what mental health is like specifically in the United States?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, mental health is something that I think is been a bigger part of our national conversation in the past year or two, and I think um, there's a lot of organizations that have really helped break down the stigma surrounding mental health.
Mm.
And through this pandemic right now, you see a lot more commercials and people talking about how we're all really fighting our own personal mental health battles right now. And everyone's kind of in this together. So I think there's so much being done on the mental health awareness side, and I think it's of course equally important for us to make sure that people actually have access to the help and resources they need.
Mhm.
And I think that has been where we've really been lacking as a country in the past, is getting those people to um, the help they need,
Mhm.
talking about it openly, and just making mental health much more um, of a something that we're comfortable talking about.
Yeah. And that's a perfect segue into my next question. So, something I love about BetterMind is that the sessions are offered in four different languages. So, BetterMind offers sessions in French, Mandarin, Spanish, and English. How does mental health differ between cultures?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely some pretty significant differences, between cultures when it comes to, mental health. And, I think the nice thing about having, online providers like we do, who are familiar with various, languages and cultures, um, because, culture has so much impact on, how an individual looks at mental health. And you know, on a college basis, we work with a lot of international students who come from countries all around the world, and it's to have someone they can connect with who truly understands, the culture they're coming from, the sort of pressures and stress and, types of family relationships, all those things that,
Mhm.
maybe affecting their personal mental health. So working with someone who obviously speaks the same language as you is important, but equally as important is having someone who actually understands, that culture that you're coming from.
Yeah, I bet that's especially the case for the international students, like you mentioned.
Mhm.
Going through building BetterMynd, what challenges have you faced?
Man, all sorts of challenges, building any startup, there's always, another hurdle to get over. But I think when we started this, online therapy was really kind of a new concept then. I think, online healthcare is still, as a industry overall, still kind of new to people. But I think for us, getting, um, people to embrace online therapy is something that is not only effective but helps make resources more accessible,
Mm,
and getting colleges to buy into that this is something that students are really starting to want more of.
mhm.
So
Yeah, it's mental health is 24/7, not just 9 to 5.
exactly. So
And how has COVID impacted BetterMynd in these past 2 or 3 months?
yeah, I would say, on a lot of fronts, it's definitely made us a lot busier. As you can imagine, we've had a lot more colleges, reaching out to us, as well as students looking for help. So, um, as I mentioned, we partner directly with colleges to make the service available to their students. And with so many colleges right now, having transitioned, online for the rest of this semester and looking, potentially even into the fall. If students aren't on campus, what sort of resources are we going to be able to provide them? And I think, mental health is a big part of that.
Mm,
The counseling centers on campus are, starting to transition to online therapy to try to bridge that gap. And um, I think, we've been able to help a lot of schools, to help their counseling centers transition, doing more digital therapy, as well as, helping support them with additional resources in our network of counselors. As more and more students are feeling, a lot of anxiety and depression and, really just uncertainty around a lot of things right now, which, is relatable for many of us. But I think for college students, especially with their campuses all being shut down and not having that kind of in-person experience is something that a lot of students are struggling with right now. And loneliness, which is something I think is a challenge when we're being told we can't socialize with people. So we're all learning to cope. And I think mental health across the board, with college students, adults, adolescents is a big part of the conversation right now. And I think rightfully so.
yeah, especially this is extremely relevant, especially for the colleges that have decided to go completely virtual for this upcoming fall semester. Um, so it's
Yeah.
it's great that you're able to help not just the students, but also help the colleges transition through this time. And moving
Mhm.
on, about how many students have registered for this in the past 3 years?
So in the past 3 years, we've had a little over about 10,000 students who have registered on our platform to date. So we've seen a lot of interest from students so far. And it's something that's growing pretty rapidly, especially as students become more familiar with online therapy and counselors as well. There's a lot more. I think there's a lot more openness to online therapy, from a lot of people. And for us, we continue to help schools kind of be innovative and on that front edge and providing their students with the services that they really want in today's day and age.
And for the students, how do they find out about it? Is it often through referrals from other friends or through their school counseling centers or?
Yeah, so kind of all of the above. We work with each school to develop a marketing plan with them to really make their students aware of it. So we do things like email blasts to the student body, especially during those peak stress times around midterms and finals, and making students aware that this is something that they can access, in addition to their on-campus counseling services, and in a more secure and confidential way if that's something that they need, or they want to work with a counselor from um, from a similar background, or who specializes in a particular issue.
Mhm.
So we recruit all types of counselors to meet the needs of diverse student body.
Mhm.
So, we try to particularly focus on, the college space, and the types of issues that college students are dealing with.
Yeah, and I love that you come up with a different plan for every school because regionally, I'm sure it changes depending on the size of the school, the needs may change. So that's really great that you're doing as much as you can to put students at the front and give them exactly what they need.
Hmm.
Um, and on a slightly different note, what advice would you give to other aspiring impact founders who want to do this kind of work?
Hmm. Yeah, I know. For me, and I think a lot of founders will tell you that, the things you have to do to kind of build a startup and really get a company off the ground and running is a lot more work than and a lot more challenging than I would have ever anticipated. But I think for me, building a company around a personal mission that I really feel strong about
Mhm.
has meant all that much when you're in those tough times, when you're hearing no from customers, investors, whatever it is, because that's just what every startup founder is going to go through at first. So for social entrepreneurs who really want to make an impact, feel strongly about something, having that to lean back on in those tough times, I think for me has made all the difference. And I would encourage folks who are thinking about it to really build a company that they're going to be passionate about, because it will be a long tough journey. So
Do what you like, definitely.
exactly.
And moving more forward looking into the future, what does the phrase beyond COVID mean to you?
Mm.
And for you and for BetterMynd as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think like so many of us, it's when is COVID over? Is it ever over? And I think just looking into the next couple of months is challenging for a lot of us right now to even know where we'll be then. So, but I think it's definitely, despite all the challenges we're going through, I think at the end of the day we can come through it stronger. And like so many things, we have to go through the tough times to to come out stronger. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to do that, as a kind of global society that we are today.
Mhm.
And I think mental health, for instance, being a real kind of front and center of conversation right now, is one of the positive things that's coming out of this. And I think the more we can focus on the positive, I think the better we'll all be at the end of this.
Yeah, great answer. And I'd say maybe in the next year or so, what are you looking to accomplish with BetterMynd?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, we're absolutely looking to continue to expand and to provide more accessible mental health services to even more students. So for us, it's going to be a lot about building that building out kind of a technology that continues to meet the needs of students and colleges, particularly as we kind of come to terms with this new normal, and with a lot of students being online now. So
Mhm.
I think there's going to be um, a lot of change, in higher education, and I think we want to help schools, to move forward and to come out better as a part of this.
Yeah. And final question, is there anything else that you'd like to add or tell our viewers today?
I think, the only thing I would wrap up with is, definitely just that we're all, in this together, and for everyone that's struggling with their mental health right now, that it's okay not to be okay, and these are really trying times for everyone. So I think, for people who need to reach out for help, there's help out there, and I think, just to know that there's other people out there going through the same thing with you, is something to make some of us feel not, as alone.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, Cody. I really hope that this interview will be able to help other college students out there as they go through these times. If you're interested in learning more about BetterMynd, you can go to bettermynd.com. It's mind, MYND, so bettermynd.com. If you'd like to learn more about the Founder Institute, you can go to fi.co. And if you want to watch or join upcoming startup webinars, we have another one on mental health next Tuesday on May 19th. You can find that at onlinestartupevents.com. So again, thank you, Cody, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too, Virginia.
Bye.